so this is a relationship reading. They're sort of coming through now. It's quite funny because Spirit was blocking me for a couple of months from doing them, but I'm noticing it's just happening again, so it's quite good. I hope you're doing all right. So yeah, this is a relationship reading, so it could be any relationship in your life. It doesn't have to be a lover, but it may be that type of more intimate connection, or it could be a family member or a friend, you know, or people, I don't know, other energies that you may be involved with. So we'll just basically go into the reading. I know I did a little bit of a talk before the last one about how our relationship with ourselves is reflected out into other relationships, and that's why it's so important for us to really cultivate the relationship with ourselves, because the better we can get the relationship with ourselves, that's going to then manifest into much better relationships externally. You know, if you're having a lot of problems with the relationships in your life, all different types of relationships, it's just a sign that obviously your relationship with yourself is still not, you know, as good as it could be. I know there's no judgment from me, because, you know, you're part of my soul family and we all have, you know, we're all together on this. And, you know, so that's why it's obviously interesting to me to be focusing on this, really. And the thing is, you know, we've all got an ego. So the reason why these attachments are so difficult to walk away from, and they seem so stubborn and they seem to persist, is basically two things. One, it's to do with your karma. So there's probably a karmic reason that you're going through this type of scenario where a relationship isn't working out, and it's part of you having to pay back karmas from past lives. So I'm sorry to say about that, because obviously we don't have much power over that. You know, basically everything we're experiencing in this lifetime is a product of our karmas that we carried forward from our past lives. Okay, so and that's why sort of surrendering and acceptance work's really important, because we have to sort of be at peace and be accepting of the fact that this is what Spirit wants us to experience, and part of the reason for that is because we are trying to pay back some karmas. Okay, essentially Spirit is actually trying to help us by not giving us what we would like in a relationship. It's actually helping us to burn off ego, because when the ego doesn't get what it wants, it basically does, the ego, kind of part of the ego does have to die off, because it's not getting what it wants. So that's the whole part of how karma gets paid off. You know, you start to reduce your ego down, and you start to balance out the scales of karma, you know. The other reason why, so basically that certain attachments often won't shift until you've got to a point where you've burnt off enough ego, you've paid back enough karma, and then at a predestined point, Spirit will allow you to be released from a connection. Okay, so that's why cutting your cords and things like that invariably doesn't work, or following relationship advice often doesn't work, because it's already been predestined for you to have a connection with somebody for an allotted period of time, so that you can pay back your karma and burn off ego. All right, because essentially that is the reason why we are all here incarnated, to just pay back karma and release ego, so we can all become the true, you know, fully realize the true spiritual beings that we actually are. So for some of us, we can do that in many multitude of ways. You know, we might have health problems, we might have other issues in our lives, and that's other ways that we're paying back our karma and getting our ego reduced down. But for some of us, it is a lot through relationships that this happens. Now, the other reason why an attachment won't sort of just end because you've had enough of it is because you've still got a lot of ego. And the thing is, with your ego, it needs something to attach to. And, you know, for some people, they might have a drug problem. For some people, they've got an alcohol problem. For some people, they've got a gambling problem. So those are the reasons why they don't necessarily rely on a relationship. They don't need a relationship as a form of attachment. They can use a substance or a habit like shopping or gambling or whatever it may be, right? Sometimes it's just like an addiction to your job, you know, or an addiction to making money, whatever. So everybody's got something they need to attach to, because we've all got ego. All humans have got ego. And so, again, some of us, like in this soul family on this channel, a lot of us, it is through attachment to a person that our ego is still really operating. And for a lot of us in this soul family, it's that's one of our biggest fears, is fully letting go of attachment. We find that really, really hard. And it's a really deep karmic pattern, and that's why you're part of my soul family, yeah, because in this lifetime you really sort of like, it's predestined for you to really sort of work on this karmic pattern to finally release it out, you know. So I can help you do that, and you can always book in for a session with me if you're getting really sick of your attachment problem, and you know, you've gone through the whole twin flame journey, or soulmates, or other types of relationships, karmic relationships, whatever you want to call them. And if you feel like, I've really had enough of this now, Kerry, like, can you help me release it out? Obviously, it will only release out when it's predestined to release out. But I can support you in understanding how to... A lot of it is your perspective, because everything in the physical reality is Maya, illusion. And once you change your perspective, you can basically... you can sort of penetrate through the Maya, the illusion, and then you can see the relationship attachment from a totally different angle. You can literally just essentially eradicate the illusion of that person, because that's basically what you're trapped in. It's like an illusion, the attachment, and it feels like you wanting this person, but it's actually your ego is just desperate to have an attachment. And you know, that's why a lot of people go from relationship to relationship to relationship, because every time they end one relationship, their ego freaks out. It needs another attachment, so they go straight into another relationship. But in this soul family, we're a little bit different, because we've signed up for this whole balancing our karma and progressing in this lifetime. A lot of us are finding we're not going straight slap bang into a new attachment, and we're actually very much, in some ways, stuck with the most recent attachment. And we're really trying to actually learn to connect with ourselves. So that's why you're part of my soul family, because I know most of you are kind of at that place. And so I can help you with that in terms of how, you know, working specifically with observing your ego and cultivating a new perspective on your attachment. But also we can look at your astrology chart. It's a really good way of doing it. And you know, obviously working with the tarot cards and what spirit shows me about you as well, it all can help. So that's kind of the little chat. I wanted to do a little chat before I do each relationship reading now, because of the fact that we are evolving as a soul family, and I don't want to just regurgitate out love tarot readings. It's not my style. I'm not here to keep people stuck, but we'll see what the cards say nonetheless. But yeah, so basically, in summary of what I've just said, you know, your attachment may not be shifting completely at the moment from the person, and that may be frustrating you. And it's just a sign that you still need to more deeply connect with yourself. And your ego is just essentially very stubborn, and it's very frightened of letting go of all attachment. It feels frightening. So it's trying to hold on to some type of attachment. It's not wanting to fully let go, you know. And also you're probably there's just a predestined point in time where this attachment will get released out, or whether at a predestined point this attachment may turn into a proper relationship. You know, it's going to be different for all of us. But, you know, yeah, it's kind of all the journey to find your true self. Once you find your true self, you won't feel so frightened about letting go of this attachment, and it will be much easier. It will, the last little pieces of the attachment will finally go once you really find your true self, you know. So let's see what this is going on with this relationship. And like I said, it can be any relationship. Okay, recent past. You've been trying to get more rational about things here. You've got the Emperor. Okay, so you have tried to be more rational about your attachment with your person, and think more clear-headed about it rather than just through rose-tinted glasses. you know, you can see the dishonesty, you can see the games, you can see the fact that this person is, they've probably had plans for your connection that weren't really lined up with your plans, and that is not going to work. Whatever they've planned is just not going to proceed, you know, and you've been looking at what they were planning and you can see it as it is, and you're just, you know, it's not doable and viable long term. So you're trying to be much more rational about things, which is really good. What's going on right now? Okay, you've got here the Ten of Cups. I mean, you're trying to raise your vibration. That's what it looks like to me, because that is connection and happiness. So you're trying to raise your vibration to more connection and happiness. You've got the Death card, transformation. You know, I feel like with these two cards, what's going on at the moment is you want more happiness. If you're kind of in this connection, you may be trying to cultivate more happiness, you know, and joy in this connection. But for a lot of you, it's probably just the fact that, you know, you're trying to cultivate your vision of like, if I've got a relationship in my life, I want it to be happy. I want my relationship with myself to be happy. And I don't want to live in a fantasy of wishing this was a happy connection if actually it's not really fully joyful, you know. Because the thing is, people always say, you know, unconditional love, or have no expectations on a relationship. But, you know, you do have to be realistic, like the Emperor is. And this is what I think as a soul family we've been doing. You have to be realistic and be like, well, you know, what is it that this person really wants from me? And is that actually high vibrational? You know, because you may want it to be high vibrational, but you can't make that connection high vibrational all on your own. You know, you need them to be on board to make it a high vibrational, loving connection. And if they're not on board, you know, what's their motive? Because I don't think their motive is as good as what you may like to think. Okay, it looks like they've had a bit of a selfish motive for keeping you in their life, if I'm being honest. And I just think you're getting much more realistic and you're going through some sort of transformation about, I do want happy, joyful connections in my life. I don't want to feel that there's any niggly type of energy where somebody might be not honest with me or maybe perhaps using me a bit. So there's a big transformation going on right now about you wanting to be more fulfilled. You want to be more fulfilled, you want to be happy, and you want to be in a nice vibration. The person you think about, straight away, that just fell out. Look at that, Knight of Wands. Unpredictable. They go in, they come out. They go in, they come out. They're still very unpredictable. I think that's, if I'm being brutally honest, I think that's the energy that we used to have. And that's why we manifested, maybe not manifested this person, but that's why we attracted this person. Because we were quite unpredictable ourselves when we met them. But what you've got to remember is we now see things more clearly. We're coming into this Emperor energy, and this has been quite a recent thing. And we're now able to observe with more clarity and be more realistic about energies that we see that are unpredictable. Whereas before we would turn a blind eye to that because we were very unpredictable and we hadn't really become very solid in ourselves at that point. Your person may be, you know, they may be sort of sidelining and sidetracking to look at what they're working on in their life and focusing on that a lot as well. So they put good energy into their work or their money, but when it comes to other things, they're unpredictable and take risks. The person you think about, they're reaching some kind of milestone here. Now this is surprising because they're obviously trying to work more hard, even though they are unpredictable in nature. They've got the Four of Wands, which represents when they're with you, it feels like home, right? And I don't like this because it kind of encourages the whole attachment thing, which I'm trying to minimize. But they do, you're not imagining it. you're not imagining it. This person does feel at home when they're with you. They've got the Hierophant card. I've said this a few times about the connection, that I do feel spirit guides them. And I've said it before in quite a lot of readings, if you watch these readings, that there is some kind of higher power. And I do get a lot of the sense that your person's very unpredictable and kind of like I said, not very honest, and they can tend to play games. And it's like, I do feel your person would love to just go off, do what they want, but it always feels like spirit has got some kind of hold of them and they kind of bring them back to you. So not only they feel at home with you, I do feel like when they're with you, they're in a higher state of consciousness. It's like spirit guides them back to you, because when this person is with you, they are in a better state of consciousness than when they're not with you. Isn't that funny? So you're not imagining it. This person does get drawn back to you. You know? Okay, so how do they feel right now? They're trying to weigh things up. They're trying to figure things out. They do perceive obstacles. There may be messages or written information. They are getting more focused. They're more resilient. I mean, they've got the Queen of Swords. This is invariably a time where somebody is single, because they need to cultivate their resilience, and it's important for them to really honour themselves at this point in their life. They've been hurt, they're trying to protect themselves, they're trying to get more independence, and they like to feel self-sufficient at this point in their life. They also are in a position where they're getting a more clearer vision. I think where they've been very confused, they're starting to get this more clearer vision of what they want to do going forward. But there's obviously still a sense of weighing things up and consideration going on. I think they're trying to come into more of a balance. There's definitely a feeling here of less toxic energy that they may have, because they've been very unpredictable in the past and they have been deceptive. There's less of that, but there is still probably a coldness and a kind of undecided energy coming here, which, you know, isn't really healthy for us when we are, you know, trying to become more stable. So that's where the gap could widen, because we're becoming more stable and more focused and more rational, whereas your person is still going through a period of weighing things up and figuring things out. How do they want to move forward? This isn't very good. I mean, they've got the Five of Pentacles, which is an unhealthy card. It's not deceptive, it's not toxic, but I don't think at this point they're well enough to proceed. Let's have a look at the other card. Oh my God. They've got the Page of Cups. All right, well, Page of Cups is more, you know, a lot of people say, oh, this is a loving message coming in. I would say to you, they might give loving messages, but they would be quite immature sort of messages. And it's more to do, when you get Page of Cups, it's more to do with your own journey of self-love, trying to find out, how can I enjoy life again? So it is quite nice, actually, because your person, where they had been deceitful, probably toxic, taking a lot of risks, it does feel like they're now acknowledging that they haven't really been very well, they haven't really been in a good position, and they sort of are realising they need to be more kind and loving to themselves, and they need to sort of start learning how to enjoy life again, you know. But they need to, I think they're starting to realise they should be doing that in a more healthy way, because I think they're realising that certain things they've been doing probably haven't made them very healthy. So there's a renewal going on for your person this month, where they're going to start realising, look, I need to I do need to start caretaking myself a bit better. Oh God. What's hidden that you don't see? I'm sorry, you see my face and you probably think, Jesus. You know, what's hidden that you don't see? There is deception there still. That's very hard to see because there is passion here with the Page of Pentacles. This is an immature energy. It's that they're passionate about getting excited about life again because they've got 2 pages. So they are definitely starting to feel more passionate about life again, get themselves out of this bad place they've been in. But I don't know if they will still be, they wouldn't, I'm being really honest with you here. This person is still not in a position to fully commit to a relationship. And if your person is in a relationship, I can pretty much guarantee you from these cards that the relationship they're in, you know, they're not, is it really good for them at the moment? They would probably better off being single because this person has got a lot of issues they need to iron out. And they're still at the very beginning of that process, all right? They're at the very beginning of trying to iron out their problems so that they can get themselves in a more emotionally and mentally healthy position, right? They're right at the beginning, and I think they're still slipping into sometimes lying to themselves or not being completely honest with you because they can't really be completely honest with themselves at the moment about how they've not been in a good place. Your person has not been in a good place for quite some time, and they've found that really hard to seek help for. They've found that really hard to admit to themselves. And so that's why they tend to spread themselves too thin. They can't really commit. They can't really go deep. They can't really apply themselves. Now is a time in June where they're having to start to actually come to terms with some of these issues. All right, they're having to start to come to terms with some of their issues and be more realistic about their issues, that their issues are not just going away, and they're starting to realize, all right, I do need to do something now to sort myself out. But it's the very beginning of that. So does this person really have a capacity for a relationship right now? No, they don't. God, I sound horrible, don't I? But if they need to apply themselves to their own growth, their own self-love and their own healing journey at this point. If they try to get involved in relationships at the moment, they'll fall back into old patterns of lying, of not being realistic, of wanting things to go in their favour without them actually having to put in a lot of work. They're not in a position at the moment. I'm sorry. Or if this is to do with a work colleague or something like that, I keep forgetting to say that, you know, you're dealing here with somebody who's trying to pick themselves up, but they could still be quite backstabbing, and you shouldn't really trust them. I wouldn't work too closely with this person at the moment, is what I'm saying. And it's not through cruelty. It's just purely because emotionally they need to do some healing work. You know, I don't feel this is a nasty person. I feel this is somebody who's been seriously in denial about a lot of their problems, and it's made them quite nasty sometimes to deal with. But they're not nasty. Does that make sense? The advice from Spirit. Knight of Pentacles, lovely. Commit to your work, commit to your life purpose, whatever that may be. You will get money from multiple sources. Your health will improve over the next month through the rest of June. I know we're already halfway through. You know, your health's going to improve. Keep committing to yourself, loyalty to yourself, nice gradual process. You know, you've been a bit distracted this month, okay? You've been a bit distracted by this person and maybe various other situations. to do with wanting more fulfillment. You've been looking for more fulfillment, but you're realizing you don't want to look in the old places that you used to look for fulfillment. You're realizing most likely your fulfillment's going to come in a new and different way. And, you know, this person may have been still distracting you a bit. And, you know, as June progresses, you're going to really come back into yourself and not be so distracted by this situation. And you're not going to be so distracted by, you know, other things out there. You're going to get your focus back, and you're going to feel more centered again, and you're going to feel more high vibrational again. Yeah, very good, because the Empress card flipped over. So you're relaxing a bit more and being more mature, and you're able to say, do you know what, I'm not obviously happy really at this current point, but I'm actually realizing now the direction I need to point myself in, and that feels positive. So I'm happy to be patient. I'm happy to be patient for the next few weeks, while it just takes a bit of time to now really go in the right direction. You know, it's not overnight, but it's a sort of very healthy, it's a very healthy, gradual energy here, where you're sort of accepting life better and accepting yourself better, and saying, you know, I do want a higher vibration for my life than this, you know, I'm not doing that for any other reason. You're actually ready. You know, you're ready for a higher vibration, and you're ready to just be patient and cultivate a healthy, higher vibration for yourself, you know, and take your time and sort of enjoy it, you know, actually enjoy it, because look at that, you know, that is the Nine of Cups. That is enjoyment that you get from yourself, because it's a singular energy. It's not coming from anybody else. So you're sort of starting to open up to spirit this month, the more June continues, and you'll just notice yourself relaxing, being a bit more mature, and sort of saying, you know, yeah, I do believe God has better things in store for me. So, you know, I'm happy to just sort of go with the flow and look after myself, you know. So yeah, so you're going to actually be really careful, really sort of watching the energies around you and watching yourself. Let's have a look what other card we get with this. Oh gosh, oh my God. Your person may be watching you, all right, and I don't like to feed attachment, but I just say it as the cards are coming out. Your person may be watching you, and they may well want a reconciliation with you towards the end of this month, or at some point. But I think you're going to be very careful with that it's in the right energy, you know, because honestly, your person doesn't look ready really to fully commit to you, or anybody. They're not fully ready to commit to anything or anyone, because that really at the moment they're right at the beginning of their journey of getting themselves more healthy. But they may really get drawn to wanting to see you, because obviously we do know that when they're with you, they feel so much better. They notice their mental health's much better when they're with you. Now, in terms of you, I think you're going to be really, really careful about what situations you're getting into, and making sure that people you're interacting with have really good vibes. Okay, so I think you're going to be really watching yourself and other people, and I think you're going to be watching you know, observing other people and sort of saying, you know, like using that as information and learning, like actually when you notice people, you know, dipping into ego or addiction, and you sort of think, actually, you know, that's not really the right vibration. It gives you information, like your person, you know, when they're dipping into their addictive type of habits, you're not judging them, but you're learning a lot, you're observing, and you're sort of thinking, well, it's not great. It's not a great energy when they dabble with this, and it's not the real them. So do you really want to be like that? Do I really want to be? No, I don't really want to be like that. You know, I'm watching the vibrations of the people around me and also watching my own vibration, and not from super ego, not from a critical parent, like, oh, I'm telling myself off, but just more from energy, really. Like, it would be much nicer to be in a clearer vibration that's of love and light, rather than, you know, falling into my attachment addiction, falling into my habits, my old habits. You know, because when you watch other people fall into their old habits, it just shows you everything you need to know, doesn't it? And I think your person, currently, they're trying to get out of their old habits, but it's the very beginning. And you can use it as information when you see this person falling into their old habits. It's not great, it's not nice energy, and that's exactly what you're trying to get out of. So your person, as much as they may frustrate the hell out of you, look how much you're learning from them about energy, vibration, karmic patterns, habits, addictions. You know, Spirit hasn't placed them in your life for no reason. Spirit's placed this person in your life as a mirror to teach you all of these really helpful things. You know all of this. You don't need me to tell you. I'm just here as your soul sister, reminding you, and also reminding myself, because it is helpful. You know, it is really helpful, because it's hard when you've got such frustrating relationships. It's disappointing and it's upsetting and it's hard. But then on the other level, look how much we're learning from it. You know, so the good thing is, as the month comes towards an end in June, you've got so much more clarity, and you are coming into a much more fulfilling vibration. You may have a reconciliation or some sort of with this person, or you're literally coming into soulmate vibes, love, heart chakra vibes, which is going to be so beneficial to you, because you could end up meeting a new partner, or getting yourself into a better work situation, or, you know, just finding yourself in a more fulfilling situation in your life. Because that's what I see happening for this soul family as we get towards the end of June. You know, coming into more personal fulfillment, you know, and life looking good, and perhaps meeting somebody, or getting into a new situation. So it's really nice, actually. So I'm sending you lots of love and peace. And like I said, if you want to book in for a reading or support to do with attachment, or to do with finding your true self, just contact me. And sending lots of love across Gaia. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for giving the video a thumbs up as well. Peace.